like to call on Dr. Henry Nasrallah, who's going to introduce our President-elect, Dilip Jeste. Dr. Nasrallah.
Thank you, President Oldham. Good evening, everyone. President Oldham, President-elect Jeste, Medical Director Scully, past presidents, APA Board of Trustees, honored guests, APA members, ladies and gentlemen. I have the distinct honor to introduce my dear friend over 3 decades, Dr. Dilip Jeste, as the next president of the American Psychiatric Association. I cannot think of a more qualified and distinguished psychiatrist to assume the reins of our esteemed association from the current outstanding president, John Oldham. Dilip is one of the most remarkable people I've ever met, a man who has achieved and accomplished so much since arriving in this great country in the early 1970s as a freshly minted Indian physician to pursue a career in psychiatry. He was fortunate to be trained at Cornell under the leadership of Bob Michaels, a giant figure in American psychiatry, at the same time that I was being trained also in New York State, up in Rochester, New York, by another icon, John Romano. Our paths first intersected right after residency when we both pursued a research fellowship in neuroscience at NIMH in the laboratory of our mentor, Richard Wyatt. Since then, I can only describe Dilip's career as an astonishing journey, studded with stellar accomplishments that are almost too good to be true for the rest of us mortals. Dilip's narrative represents a spectacular embodiment of the American dream, both professionally and personally. There are so many adjectives I can employ to describe Dilip, but I will instead list some of his many identities and unique roles to paint his amazing portrait. He's a physician, a psychiatrist, a distinguished life fellow of the APA, a geriatric psychiatrist, a trained neurologist, a world-class premier academic researcher with over 600 publications and 11 books, and whose work is so significant, he is in the top 0.5% of the most cited scientists in the world, according to ISI. He is the recipient of honors and awards too many to list. He is an inspiring teacher and generative mentor who has seeded our field with hundreds of young investigators that he personally trained. He has been abundantly and continuously funded by NIMH for over a quarter century and has received the prestigious Merit Award, which is reserved for the elite researchers at NIMH. He served on the highest body of NIMH, the Advisory Council, and also at NIH, highest body, Council of Councils. He's editor-in-chief of the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry. And at UCSD, where I also was a faculty before he followed me there and I left, he is currently a distinguished professor, an endowed chair, an Aging Institute director, and an Innovation Center director. Dilip has founded professional societies and has served as president of several organizations, including the APA presidency, to which he is about to ascend at the end of the week. He is only one of 60 psychiatrists ever to be elected to the Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences. His many contributions to the APA include serving on numerous committees and councils over the years, and most recently the DSM-5 committee and on the APA Board of Trustees. He's also a founding member of APIRE. Incredibly, Dilip remains so modest and so humble despite his superlative track record. He seems immune to developing the success-induced narcissistic personality disorder, a category I suggest the DSM-5 consider. Dilip's gentle persona encourages people to approach him and to listen to him. Influence has been defined as power without force. I believe Dilip comes from a Genusian breed of effective leaders. He speaks softly and carries a big carrot. Let me now shift to the personal side of our next president. Dilip has been married for decades to Sonali, a child psychiatrist, and is the father of 2 physician daughters, Shefali, a Harvard-trained child neurologist, currently a faculty at UCLA, and Neelam, a Duke and UCSD-trained pediatric resident currently in Washington University, St. Louis. He's also, like me, a doting grandfather to his two grandsons, Nishal, age 4, and Kiran, age 2. And whenever Dilip and I meet or email each other, we discuss our wonderful families before we get into our business. Dilip is more than a paragon of clinical teaching and research success. He's a unique role model of unassailable integrity, whose close friends like me aspire to emulate. He is not only wise, but he has authored seminal articles about the neurobiology of wisdom. He has not only excelled in investigating geriatric psychiatry and tragic disorders like dementia, but he has also broken new grounds into generating data about successful aging, a process we all avidly pursue. He's also an optimist, a vital trait for a leader. He's a very resilient person, embraces change rather than be stressed by it. He's truly a man for all seasons. Finally, they say what's in a name. Dilip's name means protector. God knows the APA can use a leader protector these days from the many assaults and challenges we face. I am confident that Dilip will set a distinctively upbeat tone and move us decisively forward and onward. As Oliver Wendell Holmes said, the greatest thing in this world is not so much where we stand, but in what direction we are moving. Ladies and gentlemen, President Dilip Jeste will move the APA in a glorious direction, and we will gladly follow. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Henry, for a very, very kind introduction. Henry has been my best friend and most respected colleague for many, many years, and the best I have done is to follow in his footsteps, first to NIH and then to San Diego, and I continue doing that. This is really a surreal moment. When I think about it, it feels really unreal. How could someone who was born in a remote village 12,000 miles away and who did not know English until he entered middle school could one day become the president of the American Psychiatric Association? What a country and what an organization. I want to thank you all for your trust and faith in my ability to lead the American Psychiatric Organization, the largest psychiatric organization in the world, and I promise that I will do my best to justify your trust. I want to begin by thanking several specific individuals. As I mentioned, Henry has been a wonderful friend and colleague for many years and really a role model in so many different ways. As Henry mentioned, Bob Michaels has been my mentor too, and so he has produced 2 presidents now in a row out of many that have followed us. I especially want to thank John Oldham. He has been a wonderful mentor and teacher during the past year as a president-elect. He really has been a role model for a president. His compassion, dedication, composure under stress, perseverance, thoughtfulness, they have been exemplary. It will be hard to fill in the last shoes that he's leaving behind. I'm delighted, however, that I'll be working next year with Jeff Lieberman, the president-elect. Jeff has been a close friend and an amazing colleague for many years, and I look forward to working with him. Very importantly, I want to acknowledge my wonderful family and great friends. My wife, Sonali, my life partner, she's a superwoman. She's an accomplished child psychiatrist. She's also an incredible mother and the world's best chef for Indian cuisine. I also want to mention my brother Vijay, who is here, along with several other family members and friends who have traveled long distances. I also wish to thank several psychiatrist friends who have traveled from India to be here. I am sorry that 2 of the finest mentors in my life cannot be here. The late Dr. Wahia in Bombay and the late Dr. Richard Wyatt at NIMH. I'm proud to be a psychiatrist. I fell in love with psychiatry when I was growing up in India as a teenager. I happened to read Sigmund Freud's books for lay people, especially his interpretation of dreams and everyday errors of life. And I thought they were more exciting than Agatha Christie's murder mysteries. Instead of solving a murder, Freud sought to unravel the mysteries of human mind. And he did that through common behaviors like dreams and everyday errors of life. Well, I was in psychiatric training in India. We all considered the APA like a kind of a celestial body. We used to look forward to getting the next issue of the American Journal of Psychiatry. It was like waiting for the next edition of the Bible. And even becoming an APA member seemed like a dream. I would never have imagined that one day I would be the president of this prestigious, wonderful organization. I feel lucky to be a psychiatrist. We psychiatrists take care of one of the most disenfranchised groups in the society. We also try to understand and enhance the most complex organ in the body, the brain. Actually, Woody Allen called it the second most important organ in the body. I won't tell you what was the number one organ for him. Psychiatrists are not at the top of the list of medical specialties in terms of income. However, a very recently done survey showed that psychiatry was in the top 2 medical specialties in terms of job satisfaction. This professional satisfaction was associated not with income, but with the amount of time psychiatrists spend with the patients. So it naturally follows that the most important mission for the APA should be taking care of our patients. The APA exists to fight mental illness and to ensure that our patients get the best available care. The coming year is going to be a challenging year. We all know that the fate of the healthcare reform is unclear. The Supreme Court will render its decision in June, and then there will be a new Congress. We will not have much control over what happens to the healthcare economy or their impact overall. However, at APA, our job is to ensure that mental health care receives the priority that it deserves and that our patients get the finest available care. We cannot do this by ourselves, of course. We'll need to work with other organizations, medical organizations like AMA, advocacy groups like NAMI, and other mental health organizations. We have to stay united. There is an African saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have to go far. We have to go together. My focus during the presidency is going to be on unity. We are one. We are one APA. We are one whether we are clinicians or academicians. We are one whether we are early career psychiatrists or lifers. We are one whether we are in the assembly or the board or the district branches. The APA already is a big tent, pretty diverse, but I would like to make it even more diverse and even broader. I would like to get more international members, more subspecialists, younger psychiatrists, and those from diverse backgrounds. One of my areas of focus is going to be international membership. The APA is truly a global organization. And I would like to increase its efforts in promoting international membership. The APA can also contribute importantly to educational activities in other countries, especially developing countries where there is a severe shortage of psychiatrists. But the education is a two-way street. Just as APA helps train people in other countries, we also need to learn from them. They also have something to contribute to American psychiatry. Another important group of members is that of psychiatric subspecialists: child, geriatric, forensic, psychosomatic, addiction, and various others. The APA needs people who belong to those subspecialties, and those subspecialties also need APA. After all, the APA is a single professional organization that can represent all our patients. A large and strong APA can be the best advocate for all psychiatric patients. Another critical group is that of younger psychiatrists, members in training as well as early career psychiatrists. They are the future leaders of our field. We need to do everything to mentor them, to give them leadership opportunities from early stages. But here again, it's a two-way street. Just as we mentor our younger colleagues, we also learn from them. They have a lot to contribute. For example, they are much more knowledgeable about social networking and the use of technology. They can help the APA move into the new era of innovations in healthcare delivery system. Finally, the APA already has considerable diversity in its membership, but we need to make concerted efforts to increase diversity at all levels, including leadership level. One major event that will occur during next year, as you all know, is publication of the DSM-5. The DSM-5 will be published about a year from now at the APA annual meeting in San Francisco. I want to stress at this stage that none of the DSM-5 criteria have been finalized. As a matter of fact, we just put the most recent draft of the DSM-5 on our website, dsm5.org. It will stay there for 6 weeks for public comments. We welcome any and all comments. We take any criticism seriously because we want the DSM-5 to be the best possible manual of psychiatric diagnosis that we can develop today. Several hundred psychiatrists and non-psychiatrists across the world have spent tens of thousands of hours pro bono in developing DSM-5. There is a rigorous review process. There is a scientific review committee. There is a clinical and public health review committee. There are forensic reviewers and the public comments. The field trials have just been finished and the data are being analyzed. The APA Board of Trustees and the Assembly will work together. We'll take into account all of the data, including all of the comments and reviews into account before deciding on the approval of the DSM-5. Just as the original DSM, as well as DSM-2, DSM-3, and DSM-4 made significant advances in psychiatry, and so will DSM-5. I feel the future of psychiatry is bright. Psychiatry will come to play a more central role in overall healthcare. Why do I say that? Because I believe that psychiatry's mission will expand beyond reducing symptoms in people with mental illness. We will aim higher. Our goal should be not just to improve psychopathology, but also to help our patients grow, flourish, develop, and be more satisfied with their lives. That is positive psychiatry. It is positive because it focuses on enhancing personal well-being through the use of positive psychological traits like resilience, optimism, wisdom, social engagement. Numerous studies have shown that these positive psychological factors are associated not just with better emotional functioning, but also better physical health and even increased longevity. I believe that psychiatry is the most appropriate of all the medical specialties to promote these positive traits in people with or without mental illness through our psychotherapies. I expect that our psychotherapies will increasingly come to incorporate things like resilience, optimism, social engagement, and wisdom to change behavior positively in people with or without mental illness. Preventive psychiatry is not an oxymoron. Psychiatry will also change as the population changes. For example, we all know that the world population is aging. The number of people over 65 will double in the next 20-25 years. For the first time in human history, there will be more people over 65 than children under 15. It's never happened before. Some people disparagingly dub this as the silver tsunami, as if this is a disaster waiting to happen that is going to bankrupt our social security, Medicare, and healthcare system. I strongly disagree with this view. I think that's a one-sided view. I see this demographic shift not as a silver tsunami, but as a golden wave or a golden revolution, if you will. Older people are not a drain on the society, they are a major resource. Growing numbers of seniors are functioning at a very high level and they're contributing to the society in a major way. This is successful aging. Successful aging is no longer a grandma's tale or a feel-good TV story. It's an evidence-based scientific fact. Some of the most exciting neuroscience research in the last 15-20 years has demonstrated neuroplasticity of aging. It has clearly shown that brain growth and development continue to occur in old age, provided there is adequate psychosocial and physical stimulation. Blood vessels, synapses, even neurons can grow in older brain under the right circumstances. Successful aging is not a fantasy, it's a fact. And the pathway to successful aging is not merely through calorie restriction and exercise, but it is also through promoting and enhancing resilience, wisdom, and social engagement through our psychotherapeutic interventions. The theme for my presidency this year is going to be pursuing wellness across a lifespan. Like psychiatry, I feel that the future of APA is also bright. Sure, we will go through some tough times, but we'll come out ahead. We have succeeded in the past. For example, after decades of hard work and against all odds, we did succeed in getting the mental health parity law passed a few years ago. It happened because we worked as one team. We worked as an organization that was united, and also because we worked with other associations like AMA, other medical associations, and the mental health organizations, advocacy groups too. The APA has done a remarkable job in many other ways too. The American Journal of Psychiatry is a premier journal in the world. The DSM has made major contributions, and the DSM-5 will again make very important contributions. The APA practice guidelines have set the standard for care not just in the US, but all across the world. I have no doubt we will succeed. We will succeed because failure is not an option. Working together, we will help the APA fulfill its mission of being the voice and conscience of psychiatry Thank you very much.